I know that the goal is to make it this far every year, but what's the difference between this year and last year, just for this overall group?
I think, experience is a big part of it. We have two sophomores in our lineup that got to play regionals last year and got to experience that. And Tiger, now a junior, is an upperclassman. That's definitely some experience that's been paying off. Those three with Philip and Zach as sophomores and Tiger as a junior this year have individual wins, and they're hungry and they want to be a part of this. So, and then you have a guy like Sam Summerhauser, who's been an anchor for us the whole time. Golf's a crazy game. It's filled with ups and downs, and he's oftentimes found himself in our top five and had some great finishes, including last week at regionals. So he's got some great experiences, played in the championship, and when you complement that with some hungry younger players around, that's really been the fuel for our team this year.
So Sam did regionals but did not do the conference?
Correct.
What goes into deciding like those five, or I guess that one was six, and changing it up from event to event?
Yeah, and we talked about this as a team at the beginning, and it's a good problem for a coach to have, but it's also kind of a tough problem because you want to recruit and have as much talent as you possibly can, and competition makes us all better. At least that's my philosophy. And so we talked about it, and guys on our team have spent different. They've no person on our team is bigger than any other person on our team. And, and certainly when a guy's on a roll, he becomes like our horse, our leader, or the person we rely on. But the reality is the line of, 5 versus 6, it changes all the time. And Sam on that particular week was just on the outside of that line, and he, handled it like a champ. He's a true team player and was hungry and ready for his next opportunity, which just so happened to be the next week at regionals. And sure enough, he's positioned to lead the team, and now he's feeling really good about our chances going to the national championship.
Talking about the makeup, obviously, of your lineup, Tony's another guy who we saw a lot early, but maybe now towards the end has not been able to play his way into that 5. What's he maybe not doing that he needs to continue to try to get better at to be consistently in that 5 for you?
Yeah, Tony's been not a surprise, but he's been an awesome addition to our team because he's just a very, awesome personality. The guys have really taken a liking to him, the person, and he's got incredible talent. So he's a guy who's picked up a lot of experience this year, and we've told him every step of the way, be ready, because your name's one round away from being called. It's not much different than being a backup in football or certain other sports where, it could be injury, it could be performance. Either way, you're going to be on the tee next day potentially. So I'm totally confident with Tony's abilities, and I know that when he does get his next opportunity, he's going to be ready to help us, and I'm excited about that because we count on him, and he's carried us in several tournaments this year too.
So what have the team done to get ready?
Well, I think for us right now, the guys have all finished up their school. We went to regionals with that being behind us, which was great. It's nice to have that stress, something that you can kind of put behind you and not have to worry about anymore. The guys are an incredibly hardworking team. So I'm, as a coach, not scheduling a ton of practice that they have to attend. We get out here in the morning, and oftentimes they're beating us here, especially when they don't have class. And, at the end of the day, 5, 6 in the afternoon, there's 3 or 4 guys still here. So we've played a few courses here in town to try to prep and try to simulate a little bit of what we might be able to expect. Tucson Country Club's a great setup for that. Got fast greens here, difficult chipping around the greens. Those are things we think we're going to see at La Costa. And we've done some great team activities too. We went bowling. We've just found a new love for a couple of board games, Taboo and Code Names, I think is the other one that was introduced. So we're trying to stay competitive, doing things that we don't normally do, I guess you could say, and keep our mood light, loose. We're going to have some fun. And, we're definitely there to play our best golf, but we also know it's an honor, and it's earned to get a chance to play in this tournament. So we're going to try to have some fun doing it too.
What have you learned about the new course?
Well, Gil Hans did the renovation, and before it was a little bit shorter, so they've added some length in certain spots on the tees. I think for the most part, it's a course like championship golf where you're going to want to try to keep the ball below the hole. I don't know if the course, because it literally just opened within the last month, I don't know if it's going to have this full growth feeling to it. So perhaps there's going to be some penalty areas around the course, of course, but there might not be some heavy rough. There might not be some of the same challenges you're going to see 2, 3, 4 years from now on that golf course. So I don't think it means the scoring is going to be better, but I do think the team that keeps the ball in the right spots below the hole, and they're chipping from the right spot, putting from below the hole, that's going to be one of the keys to success, because oftentimes new courses play firmer and faster, and so that means it's shorter, but you've really got to know where your ball is stopping.
There's normally like a gap where you're not allowed to play a course for a championship, right?
Correct.
How far is that normally back?
Well, normally 1 year in advance.
Oh, okay.
But this particular tournament's already been set up to be the next 3 years. So no team has, plus it helps that it wasn't even open, so there wasn't even a chance that somebody could sneak out there. But there's been no access to the course, and as the rule is currently written, teams won't be allowed to play it in the future either, except for the championship. So it's a truly neutral site.
So you almost are, like, by being part of the first group that's playing it, or the first ones, that may give you a leg up on just next year other teams that play it for the first time.
Certainly. Yeah, certainly helpful. And I think one thing that we've done a pretty good job of, I don't have the notes or the stats to back this up, but we've done well going to tournaments that nobody's played on that golf course. So we've gotten invited to some great tournaments. This is dating back a couple of years now too. It's not just this year, but when we show up at a course that no one's played, a lot of times we've done well. I hope that's a sign of what's going to happen this week. I can't promise anything, but I do believe that our game plan and the work that the coaching staff and the players do, because they're committed to this too, is going to pay off in the way of our preparation.
What's the key to that? To being able to play something that you've never seen? Is it just the adaptability from hole to hole, like that each of the golfers recognizing things just right off the bat?
Yeah, that's part of it, and just golf IQ is part of it. But you can do a certain number of things ahead of time with aerials and figuring out how much space you have, where your driver might fly. So getting a game plan ready for the practice round helps you be confident and be committed to certain lines and certain distances from tees that can help expedite your learning curve of how to get ready for a golf course.
The guys were saying that they watched some of the women's first round there yesterday. What can they get out of watching others play it on television?
The first thing I think we were watching it together too. So we had a nice dinner at Coach Walton's house and played some more games. But so it was on and we were tuned in. The first thing you notice are the firmness of the greens, and the women's game is very similar to the men's game in a lot of areas, but sometimes the ball flights are a little bit different, so you can't say that it's for sure going to be firm. But I've even been trying to pay attention to the scoring, and it looked like the women came out through the week and the scoring got more and more difficult. So I'm not going to tell our team this, because I don't know what hard or easy is, and we don't know what good is when we tee it up on Friday. But I do think that the course and the setup, based on how you usually see championships, it's going to be one where it will get more and more difficult as the week goes on. So we're going to need to be tough and ready and adapt, and we got a team to do it.
Who's your hottest golfer right now?
That's a good question. I think it's probably. That's a really good question. I don't like to pick one of my favorite sons. Zach's been really consistent. Like, Zach has been a little bit of he's not been an unsung hero, but he's really logged a bunch of really quality tournaments, including rounds. Didn't get off to the best start at regionals, but didn't panic, didn't do anything different, just got to the green and practiced a little after the round, got a little rhythm after round one, and just kind of chipped away at it. So if I'm shouting out one person right now, it's Zach, but I couldn't be more proud of the way Sam played last week, and I'm remiss if I don't mention Philip, Tiger, Johnny, and Tony. So like those 5, 6 guys traveling this week, we're going to have a good time, and I have confidence that a couple of them are going to step up, and the ones that aren't, air quotes here, on stage they're still a huge part of what's going on with our team's success, and their role is very important, whoever that is.
Obviously you have your team qualifiers, but then Sam got to play in that U.S. Open qualifier ahead of regionals. What does being in a competition like that do for a player?
I love getting our guys to do that, and I don't know off the top of my head. I think we had 7 out of 9 play, and you can assign confidence and build your I guess, build your confidence from that performance, but it also doesn't have to mean anything. You know, Sam shoots 3 under, feels like he plays pretty good, barely misses a playoff. That's great. Tiger didn't play so great, but he shows up at regionals and plays good. So tournament reps are invaluable, and that's why we play all year. We get reps, we see how guys perform under pressure, perform with different conditions, and that's no different. And when we get the U.S. Open qualifier here in Tucson, right before we get on a plane to go to a regional, I think it's great for those guys who are prepping for the regional.
Tiger said he and Philip have played in European tournaments on this level. Is there a similarity to those types of tournaments that they played over there to the NCAA Championship?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the European Boys Championship, and it's very much as riveting and as fun to watch as it is the NCAA Golf Championships. And the format's a little different, so you can't draw the exact same parallels, but it's definitely a team game. And when you get to experience at that level, and the experience that our European players, for example, who have got to do that, it's definitely pays off. And other tournaments we scheduled this year, the Copper Cup, we played 8 guys deep against Arizona State, USC, and UCLA, and we came out on top that week in January. But those types of experiences are the kinds of things that we're going to rely on when it comes time to flip the switch and go into match play here later in the week.
Yeah, not to get maybe too far ahead into match play, but does your lineup potentially change if you feel like maybe one of your guys that's not in that 5 and stroke play is a better fit for you in match play? And have you done that before in the past potentially?
Definitely all guys traveling are going to be options for us, and that's certainly something we think about. I mean, it helps when you get to see 4 rounds of stroke play in advance to see how player A is playing the course versus player E, for example, and maybe it's time for F to come in for C. Who knows? But either way, I'm confident that whichever players we're going to have rolling out there, they're going to give us a great chance to perform.
So your 6th will play as an individual?
No, sorry. So you only play 5. Every single day you play 5, and Tony's going to start out as our substitute. If something happens with injury or just coach's decision, we could put Tony in for any one of the rounds following. We would just have to take one of those players out.
And Johnny is the 5th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect, thank you so much.